And for all them millennials, again, another Zero Hedge article submitted by Bill Blain of Mint Partners. Blain, millennials aren't buying cars or homes because they are indentured slaves. Well, unless some of those millennials buying them some cryptos because they see the writing on the wall, we would have to exclude them. But for everybody else, that's a millennial. It takes a big-hearted girl from the North Country. You can tell how you paid those bills and went through heaven and hell. That's what he says. Let's not worry about U.S. stocks dancing around the 200 moving day average or Deutsche Bank's miserable and anticipated results, or the 3.01% U.S. Treasury yield on only some 90 basis points lower than Greece. And yes, I know they are different currencies, but that's not the point. And yes, the main news today will be whatever ECB, European Central Bank head Mario Brothers Draghi says. Don't expect any insights into the disturbing signals of European slowdown, but prepare for the usual kick the can down the road obfuscation about when rates are going to rise. Yawn. Instead, let's start with credit and giving credit where credit's due, basically, as he says. Move that over here. Last night, I was at the 20th birthday party for the UK Debt Management Office. Founded by Gordon Brown on April 1st, 1998, the small and highly professional DMO staff raised nearly 150 billion euros for the UK last year, and prompting Chancellor Philip Hammond to wonder if this made them the most productive workers in the UK. I suppose it's no wonder my old friend, reformed banker and head of the DMO, Sir Robert Steedman. Or is that Steedman? S-T-H-E-E-M-A-N. Steedman. You gotta say it like that. Steedman. Did the math and idly pondered. Since they raise something like 800,000 euros for the UK every minute, perhaps it's time to ask for commission-based pay packages for his staff. The success of the DMO is illustrated by the fact that so many other countries have since followed the model, and by the number of bankers at last night's due in the Treasury. What? And by the number of bankers at last night's due in the Treasury. Great to see so many old friends there, and thanks for the many kind words about the porridge. Little pig, let me in. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Any of y'all remember that song? Yes or no? Be honest. Don't go look it up. Do you remember that one? I have really no idea how many people read it, as it's distributed over a large number of media outlets, including Bloomberg, Euromoney, and other financial wires, which proves it's freely available commentary and therefore not subject to MIFID restrictions. The other side of the equation this morning is the UK. A few weeks ago, I mentioned the concerns of some of my moneyed friends about the low prices being hit on UK bloodstock, racing horses, to you and I, sales. It seems the rich have been taking stock and holding back a discretion on discretionary spending. Do they know something we don't? The obvious answer is Brexit. It is so unsettling and shrouded in uncertainty that Brexit has been an excuse for anything. What, you got hit by a meteorite on the way to work? Well, that's Brexit for you. Bless. The truth is very different. Brexit is and always has been a distraction. The rot appears to be far more deep-seated in the structure and fabric of the past 30 years. The truth is a few people have lots more money, but lots of people have far less money. So this morning, it's UK car sales dropping off the proverbial cliff. Millennials are not buying cars, no matter how cheap the financing packages are. And I'll add one. Not only being cheap, why are they cheap, financing packages? Because we'll just give you a 7-year loan, an 8-year loan, maybe a 9 or even a 10-year loan on a car. Step right up. Everybody's approved. Be sitting behind the wheel Sunday. First person sitting behind the wheel gets a 50% discount. Well, how much is the car? 50% more money. Oh, so I saved nothing sitting behind the wheel before 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Correct. Just a ploy to get your sorry butt down here. So yeah, no matter how cheap the financing packages are, because their indentured slavery pittances will never allow them to buy their own homes. Not if things keep going the way they are, or even stay where they are. It's going to be extremely difficult. The middle classes are holding onto their cars for longer because they are working longer and harder and being indirectly taxed more and have less to spend. Meanwhile, they're also getting fearful of a slide in housing, which is the only way most folk will ever get any kind of livable pension. A housing slide could be triggered by higher rates, affordability, and the threat of current high employment being reversed by a recession. Again, even if you didn't have the whole high employment, being reversed, forget that. Nothing else has changed. Massively in debt, can't afford anything. Houses are still extremely expensive. Rent is still extremely expensive as hell, as a matter of fact. And I've said this before. If the bulk of your paycheck goes to one thing, and that's called a house, whether it's a mortgage or rent, if the bulk of your paycheck goes there, that means you have whatever discretionary spending after that, the leftover, on everything else in your life, which does include things that still pay towards that house, electricity, taxes, maybe if you're not escrowed, whatever, all that stuff. Hang on, what is this? Something else. Anyways, point being, nothing's changing, and this can't possibly keep going on the way it is. So again, if we're lucky, those of us in crypto, if we're real lucky, and I don't even think it's going to have to be real lucky, just a little bit of luck. We just need a tiny bit of luck on our side. The housing market will start doing this, and our cryptos, which we got a little taste of recently, are going to start doing this. And even if you're underwater in your house, it may not seem like it if you can still pay it off with some crypto profit. What would be even better is if you can start buying hard assets with some of those crypto profits, like housing, real estate, things of that hold their value to some extent. They don't just go to zero. And you start using that for residual income later on. Oh, fire sale like we saw in 2009 and 10. I bought 3 properties for the freaking price of 1 in normal times. Yeah, they needed a little bit of work. I did it. Paid some contractor, but they did it. And now I'm renting all 3 out. I've got a management company handling it. They do a real good job, blah, 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 blah. You have no payments on the houses. It's all, not all, but most all is profit coming in every month, all 3 properties. Oh, you need to replace an air conditioner? Fine. No big deal. Because you're not making a house payment, mortgage payment, plus renting, $200-$300 over the mortgage payment. Because pulling in $300 a month or $200 a month isn't exactly great when you could be pulling in $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month, keeping most all of it. And then when an air conditioner dies in a few years, oh, no big deal. $4,000, whatever, $5,000, okay, we're good. I've been collecting $1,500, $1,300 a month this whole time. That's why it takes money to make money. We know this. And cryptos right now are our way out of this. If these things failed today, like, oh my God, the end of the world just happened. Cryptos are finished. A lot of us are already made whole. I'm totally made whole with what I got invested in these things. I was made whole the second I pulled the trigger on my Veritasium sell and put it down on this house. I was made whole. But then I did some other trading, the RV and that stuff, jet ski. Some people aren't. So you do have to think about that. At some point, you're going to have to say, when do I take profits to at least make myself whole? Only you know that answer. But once you get there, there's no more worry after that. Because if it does go to nothing, hey, I already got my money back, maybe and then some. But the point is, we don't want to just do that. We want to get a lot more income from these things, these cryptos, to buy stuff like this so that our kids, your kids, don't have to deal with what a lot of people are going to be dealing with. All these people. I met the friend of ours from NASA. It was from a long time ago. He was at NASA. He came and had lunch with me and Frank. Yesterday, I guess. Tuesday. And we were chatting about stuff, and he says, he's worked at another place after at NASA, but he's like, I retired from there recently. And he says, I still go meet my buddies for lunch, and I'm retired. I'm done. So I got plenty of time on my hands. So he's like, I'll go pick them up. We'll go eat, and then I'll drop them off. I'm like, see you guys later. You guys going to work. I'm going home, joking with him. He's like, I've been trying to get him into cryptos for a year now. And every time we go out to lunch, I have them hold up a phone with the price of Bitcoin and Litecoin, either or both. And every few months, we're going to look back and see what the price was. He's like, I've been doing this since last year. I'm like, that's a good idea. Just to kind of catalog. Hey guys, I'm your friend. We're coworkers, but we're friends. I mean, come on. Remember last year? Yeah. Remember when we were sitting there? Here's the picture. You don't have $1,000 you can throw at this stuff? If you lost it all, it wouldn't hurt you, right? Well, no, it'd be fine. Throw it in there. Throw it in. Risk, reward. Yeah, there's risk. But how many times do we keep seeing the reward over and over again? Like, you can't just keep shoving it in people's faces, but that's why I like these cryptos. I'm so glad they're here, because if we were relying on gold and silver right now, we're still waiting. Man, when's that breakout? And speaking of that, if you look at the 10-year chart of silver, let's see if I can just pull this up real quick. From, check this out. Here we go. Right here. From here, or even here, whatever. Somewhere over here, up here, down here. Are we not looking at a freaking entire market cycle? Wall Street cheat sheet? Psychology of a market cycle? Are we not looking at one right now? 2008, 2018, 10 years. Are over the next 2 years or 3 years, are we about to see this again? Except maybe quite a bit higher numbers, not $49, $50 silver. All right, just saying. When you get some of them profits from crypto, don't forget about having some precious metals. sdbullion.com/jsnip4. They usually have a little promotional thing there. So anyways, try not to be one of these people, these millennials that are going to have to deal with what they're going to have to deal with. We need a bust cycle. We need the bust cycle to come in to clean this mess up. That's why they happen. Boom, bust. Boom, and bust. It's the way the system is designed from the very beginning. It's debt-based society. It's a side effect. It's like a drug you got to take, and there's a side effect. FDA approved. See ya.